The other thing is we talk a lot about sleep, and sleep is extremely important, but there are other modes and brain states that can allow you to recover. One of the ones that I'm a huge proponent of and that my lab has been studying and other labs are studying is what many people call yoga nidra, where
I've done yoga nidra a lot.
It's a wonderful practice, just lying down and focusing enough of your attention so that you don't fall asleep, and enough of your attention on and moving it around so that you're not really concentrating on any one thing.
I fall asleep every time.
I do too. I do too. But what we know, so I fundamentally disagree respectfully though, with the idea that we can't recover sleep that we've lost. Because what are we really talking about there? For me, it's the ability to perform these duration path outcome analyses. So in my lab, we have people do a cognitive task, and then we place them into these very deep states of relaxation through things that are kind of like yoga nidra. And people can find yoga nidra scripts out there. They're everywhere on YouTube, elsewhere. Or we have them do a hypnosis script. Hypnosis is very similar. Deep relaxation, wandering sort of attention, fairly narrow context. But it brings the brain into these unique states where you're neither asleep nor awake. And for people that have trouble falling asleep or trouble relaxing themselves, these kinds of practices are extremely useful because they're really teaching you how to turn off those modes of focus. So, we live in a stressed society. Some people are stressed because they're overwhelmed, but other people are stressed because they just don't know how to turn off their brain and fall asleep. And so if you want to learn how to turn off your brain and fall asleep, these practices are immensely useful.
How do you practice hypnosis by yourself though?
So there's some scripts. I would recommend people go to one of the scripts on YouTube, or there's some good ones. I've never met him. I don't have any relationship to him, but Michael Sealey, S-E-A-L-E-Y, Australian guy, has some really good hypnosis scripts.
And they're just audio programs?
Yeah, you just listen to them. And
he's not going to make you walk off a cliff or anything.
No. So stage hypnosis is very different. So I have a very close collaboration with a guy named David Spiegel, who's in our psychiatry department at Stanford. We're now looking at how daily breathing exercises can impact people's sleep and levels of stress. He's done a lot of work on addiction and trauma and pain management through hypnosis. And most all of hypnosis that's clinical involves bringing one's state into one of deeper relaxation, not full sleep, and then thinking about some behavioral change that one wants to make. These are ancient practices, really, and I think that they were developed by people that understood that rewiring of the brain requires focus and deep rest. What's interesting about hypnosis is it brings those two things together at the same moment. So normally you'll work really hard on something, then you'll sleep, and that's when the plasticity occurs. But hypnosis likely accelerates that whole process by having people enter a state of deep relaxation and focus at the same time, and allows those circuits to reshape themselves. And there's some published data from David's lab to support that.
That's fascinating.
So I think these practices are really useful. And I think that if you want to get better at performing, everyone now knows, thanks to Matt Walker's book and others, like sleep more, sleep better. But what if you have trouble sleeping? Well, or falling asleep? Well, we want to define what that is. Some people have a hard time turning off their thoughts. It's really hard. Remember, you can't do it. What you can do is to learn to control that perceptual window and distribute it so that your sense of time starts to kind of drift off and you end up in sleep more easily. And it's a practice that most people find if they do it for 10 minutes a day or so, they start sleeping much better within a week or more, and sometimes more. Sometimes people need some other help, like not drinking caffeine late in the day, et cetera. But that brain state of no duration path and outcome analysis is going to be the most restorative, and you can get it in wakefulness too. So taking a walk where you're just letting your mind go is very powerful.